Hey everybody, it's Lo and welcome back to my channel, Lo Without Limits. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a gluten-free olive oil cake. So if you want to see that, then just keep watching. I actually have not made this cake before, but if you're watching this video, that means that it turned out great. So watch it to the end to see how I did it. But what got me inspired to want to make this cake is I have the Brightland olive oils. I have the Awake and Alive. These are their duo set. And I have the subscription, which is renewing pretty soon. And I still have a little bit of each of the olive oils, and I don't want them to go to waste. So I figured I will make a keto olive oil cake. So it's going to be keto and gluten-free. I looked on Brightland's website because they have so many recipes of things that you can do with all of their olive oils, and now they have vinegars, which I also really enjoy. And I found 5 different olive oil cake recipes, and all of them had pretty different ingredients, and none of them were gluten-free. So I looked at them all, tried to find like what's the same here. One has like caramelized blood oranges on it, but I'm gonna use some regular orange. I'm gonna take a little bit from each one and also make it gluten-free by using almond flour and coconut flour instead of regular baking flour. And we will see how that turns out. So again, taking inspiration from 5 completely different recipes. All of them also have different additives, but I also want to keep it relatively simple so that way you can also taste the olive oils, because these olive oils are amazing. So I do really want them to have a good flavor in the cake itself. So the first thing that I'm going to do is crack and mix up 3 eggs. So these are just 3 large eggs. I've tried getting them to room temperature because I was also reading different things about how to make a cake from scratch, because I do just want to be able to create more things on my own without really planning it. And one of the things was to have room temperature eggs. I'm just going to whip them up so they are nice and fluffy. To give it a nice sweet flavor like a cake should have, I'm going to add in a little bit of vanilla extract. I'm not going to fill this teaspoon up all the way. And then of course the olive oils. So again, I have the Alive and Awake. I'm not too sure which one I want to do, so I'm actually just going to do a quick little taste test of each. So this is the Alive olive oil. It's more of like the bright fruity salad type one. Okay, this one could be good since I do plan on incorporating a little bit of orange into it. It has a little bit of a peppery kick in the back of my throat. Here is the Awake. Although that one's very good too. Actually might do Awake because I also want to add in a little bit of some warm spices, and because of the warming spices, and this one's a bit more of like the heartier soups and stews olive oil that they offer, I think this one might actually go a lot better. So I'm going with Awake. And I'm gonna start off slow. I don't wanna add too much because you can't really take things out once you put them in, but you can always add more. So I'm just going to add in 1/2 cup of this olive oil. Just measured out 1/2 cup of the Awake olive oil from Brightland. I'm going to put that in with the eggs and the vanilla. Now I'm going to whip all of these things together. And before I start mixing in my dry ingredients, I am going to add in a little bit of orange zest. So this is just our regular organic orange. Now I'm going to set the wet stuff off to the side, grab another bowl, and I'm going to start mixing in the dry ingredients. So something that I'm keeping in mind while making this olive oil cake is my mug cakes that I usually make. Now those aren't keto because they do have maple syrup in them, but I'm gonna use those same ratios just because those do cook so well and nice and fluffy, and just bring those ratios up a little bit in order to make this bigger size cake. So for that, I'll do 1/4 cup of almond flour for an egg. So for this one, since I have 3 eggs, I'm going to do 3/4 cups of almond flour and just kind of go from there, because again, you can always add more in if you think it needs it. You can't really take any out. So I'm gonna start off with 3/4 cups of almond flour. Some of them also call for baking powder and baking soda, so I'm going to add a teaspoon of each to my dries. To help it rise, since it is gluten-free, I'm also going to add a little bit of xanthan gum because I bought it for $14, so I'm gonna use it. Going to add some salt to give it some extra warming flavor. I'm gonna add some allspice. And then for a sweetener, I got this Lakanto sugar-free monk fruit baking sweetener with erythritol. So this I really like because it's super powdery and it says that it bakes like sugar, so it won't be super granular. I'm just gonna give it a try. I was at Austin's the other day and we were making a dessert, so we did have to go and get some of this. We got the same brand, but it's in a blue bag. It's one that's more of like a powdered sugar type consistency, but I saw this there and I thought I have to get that to make this olive oil cake. I think it would work really well, so we'll find out if it does. I'm going to add half a cup. And I think I'm also going to add in a not super full quarter cup of coconut flour. Now I'm going to bring my bowl of wet ingredients over there. And I have this little sifter. I'm just gonna set that right on top. And before I sift my dry ingredients into it, I'm going to set the oven to 350 degrees so that can preheat while I finish up the cake. I'm going to sift all of this out. Perfect timing, the oven's all done, and I actually love this consistency. I think that came out really well. Let's see how it tastes. Fantastic flavor too. Wow. Very surprised by how this is turning out. Now before I put the batter into the 9-inch cake pan, I actually want to put fruit on the bottom. So I'm going to use that same orange that I zested earlier and just cut it into some slices. This knife is not my best, but my other one is behind my camera. All right, so after poorly cutting some orange slices, as you can see here, I'm going to pat them a bit dry. And over here I have just a small saucepan heating up with a little bit of avocado oil. And in the same bowl that I put all the dry ingredients in, I'm gonna put a little bit more of this sugar. So it's just along the bottom here. And once this pan is hot, I'm going to put the oranges in there. So I'm gonna put a little bit of the sugar on each side, just a quick little coating. And while I'm waiting for that to finish heating up, I'm just going to spray this 9-inch cake pan with some avocado spray. After I coat each orange, I'm just going to do a quick little glaze in the pan. And this is just on medium heat. One of the recipes calls for blood oranges like this, and I think she glazes them and uses real sugar and then glazes it and does it all in a cast iron skillet and then pours the batter into there. I don't have a cast iron skillet, so we're just figuring this out. So hopefully it works. Hopefully the juice from the oranges don't make the cake too soggy, especially in the middle. Maybe I should put them more towards the end. Gonna get that even spread. Now I'm second guessing the oranges in there. I'm gonna take them out. I'm taking them out. Bye oranges, you were a nice idea. I think if the oranges were smaller or if I was cooking it in a different pan, maybe, but I don't know. I'm not gonna risk it. Now I'm going to put it in the oven. Again, it's at 350 degrees for 30 minutes, but I'm gonna check on it at 20 minutes just to be safe. Fingers crossed. Okay, it's been 20 minutes. I'm gonna take it out just so I can poke it and see how it is doing. I'm gonna take it out. I'm gonna let it cool in the pan a little bit before I flip it onto this plate. But here it is, spongy. It's brown, but it doesn't feel burnt. I'm gonna let that cool for like a few minutes and then flip it onto the plate, give it a try, and we will see how this turned out. I've been letting it cool for 5 minutes or so. I'm going to flip it onto this and we can see how it looks. Let's do this together. Okay, a little toasty on the bottom, got a little bottom toast, and a little bit did not make it on. But it doesn't taste burnt. It just looks like it. Wow, it's actually really good. It's like spongy and light. And there's also like the perfect amount of orange in here. It has like that orangey tang. But at the end, it has that allspice flavor and the flavor of the awake olive oil. So at the bottom didn't fully make it, but these are great crumbs. I suppose I just need to figure out kind of where this happened. Maybe add more stuff to the bottom. Or I'm sure having the oranges, even though I took them out, like having that juice there may have just kind of seeped and absorbed the avocado oil that I had sprayed. So then this got stuck to the pan. I'm gonna take it to Austin's. I don't know how, but I'll figure that out. And he also has, again, this sweetener, but he has the one that's more of a powdered sugar, as well as some almond milk creamer, so it'll be nice and thick. So I think I'm gonna mix those two, make a glaze, put that on here. Actually very proud of myself. Wow, I can make cakes from scratch all on my own. This is such a big day for me. I'm actually so proud of this. Yes, it's a little brown around the edge and the bottom didn't come off perfectly, but for my first cake from scratch, again, I did get inspiration from like 5 different recipes, but for the most part, this was all on my own from scratch, and it tastes so good, and it came out a cake, which is amazing, so I'm super proud of myself. It's amazing. And again, it's gluten-free. I didn't do the math yet, but I will have a graphic right here of the total net carbs for the entire cake. So there you have it. This is my gluten-free olive oil cake. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Comment down below what your cake tips are, maybe how to get it a little less brown, and just any other cake tips that you have, and what else you want to see here on my channel. And while you're there, be sure to subscribe. I upload a new video every Wednesday. So until the next one, thanks for watching.